Hey, it's early spring and I'm up here on Georgian Bay, and I'll tell you, Georgian Bay offers thousands of places to fish. Why? Because it's so intricate with all the islands that it has. And I'm gonna fish a number of feeder bays for monster pike today. Should be a lot of fun.
Coming up. On today's show, Bob is feeling sexy as he uses Strike King's sexy swimmer to catch Northern Pike. Bob is filming up in northeastern Georgian Bay out of Diamond Key Lodge at the mouth of the Key River. With thousands of bays and inlets, it is virtually impossible to run out of places to fish. Targeting back bays with feeder creeks, Bob shows us how easy it is to catch early season Northern Pike.
All righty. That is a good looking pike right there.
Oh, here we go.
Hello.
Oh yeah.
Get ready, get ready.
Here comes. Whoa, he's got it. Oh man, that is a big rainbow. Oh, yeah, that thing is a monster. Look at that big laker. Look at the size of this fish.
The Real Fishing Show with Bob Izumi.
Whoa, he's a jumper. That is awesome, girl.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Woo! Hooked up, boys.
Whoa, all right.
Here he comes, here he comes.
Oh, oh no!
Oh, that's a nice one.
All right, look at that. Hey, righty.
Real Fishing is sponsored by Mercury, #1 on the water, and Tim Hortons.
That's what I call real fishing. You know, what we're gonna do today is a series of milk runs, and you can see here on the Lawrence, I'll just zoom way out. We're in the north part of Georgian Bay, and you literally have hundreds of little inlets here. And what I like to refer to these as is good spawning bays for Northern Pike. So we're just gonna hopscotch around and fish just a ton of these spots. And just zoom right in, you'll see all these little bays all in here. We're gonna fish as many of them as we can today. Put the odds in our favor. We're gonna run and gun and hit a bunch of them. Now, of course, you have to realize that up here in Georgian Bay, there are thousands of islands and shoals, so you wanna really watch where you're going. So when I get into some of these backwater areas that aren't marked with buoy markers or showing any depth, what I'm gonna do is actually just idle in with the motor trimmed up, and I'm gonna keep watching my sonar, my depth finder, and I'll get into some of these areas here that are just blue water here, and I'm gonna go real slow. I'm not gonna go in there like a cowboy on plane real fast because I don't wanna take the lower unit off. So really what you wanna do is work, you know, the channel areas with the big motor, and then go slow into all these back areas and look for those post-spawn pike. You know, it's pushing 30 years now, actually 29 years since I've been fishing for a living, and I have to admit that the most exciting part of what I do for a living is fishing new water. And that's what I like about Georgian Bay. There are literally thousands of places to fish. Islands like you wouldn't believe, back bays, incoming rivers. The fact is that there are so many different places that can hold fish. You've got weed beds, rocks, shoals, reefs. It is full of structure, and that's what makes it such an interesting puzzle to put together. And that's what I'm doing today is I'm really just checking a lot of different areas. We're gonna check off, check a lot of the incoming bays and feeder creeks, and then we're gonna work the edges, working out towards deeper water, and hopefully we'll find some of them toothy critters. Those pike like to usually be in and around fertility, so I'm gonna keep looking in some of the back bays for fertility, and then work the shallows and progressively work deeper. Ah, just a wee fella. All right. Whoa. Alrighty. Now we're looking for this one's relatives, but look at that, skinny, Georgian Bay, Northern. Well, there, we broke the ice now, and we have proved one thing: this bait will catch them. All right.
When we return, Bob does some more exploring at Georgian Bay. Closed captioning is brought to you by BoaterExam.com. This tip of the week is sponsored by Coleman.
Who's that handsome fellow in the picture there? Just found this old magazine here from the 80s, and you can see I'm wearing a Lowrance hat. Well, some things never change. You know, when it comes to fishing electronics, I will have to admit, they're tools that will help you catch more fish. The only thing that's really changed after all those years is the units are much better today, and I don't have quite as much hair. Anyway, let's talk about fishing with electronics. Last summer, I was out with renegade tournament angler Brian Pollock. He had been telling me for a few years that I've got to get out to Eastern Ontario and do some lake trout fishing with him in the middle of the summer. Well, we got out there late in the day. It was about 45 minutes before dark. What we were doing is using our electronics to zigzag back and forth over contour lines that were on our Navionics maps. Now, the Navionics chip was in the unit, and we were just zigzagging around looking for fish. Once we found fish, we would drop down a gulp jigging grub on a 3/8 ounce exchange Lindy jig. Now, the whole key was you wanted a heavy jig to get down there fairly quick. You didn't want to drop that jig, though, beyond where you'd mark the fish. You wanted to drop it so that when you started to see the arc come up on your graph, then you'd stop it and start to reel up, and those fish would hammer it and almost rip the rod right out of your hands. Very violent strikes. These deep water fish were basically fish that are down there suspended feeding on bait fish, and we were using the electronics to locate them. I call it sight fishing with your electronics. Folks, use your electronics like your underwater eyes. I think you'll catch more fish. Oh, little hammer handle here. Just a wee fella. Now these are brand new, these tools here. They're mouse spreaders, and you'll see how you can put these in. Berkeley have just come out with these. They're really a cool deal. So I'm going to spread it open like that. Grab that treble. Just pop it out right there. All right. It's nice to have all the tools ready. Even for little fish like this, they got teeth, you know, and they can do a pretty good job on your hand. So you want to have everything ready. Okay. Just working, you know, basically in the spring of the year, you want to do, really the easiest way to locate pike is to look for the biggest feeder bays in a system. And here on Georgian Bay, there are literally, there's another fish. Oh, there are literally tons of these feeder bays. Oh, just a little guy there. Just pop this one off. There we go. And just, I'm running a Navionics chart right in my Lowrance today, and you know, basically this is the first bay we've hit this morning, and we're just looking for some of these pike that are post-spawn that have, you know, moved in to these big bays to spawn, and then they're going to be right on the edge of these bays during this time of year. Like, we went into the back of it, it bottomed out into about 10 inches to 12 inches of water. Now we're in about 3 feet of water here. And it's just process of elimination really when you're pike fishing, especially during the spring of the year. You want to look for the big back bays, Bays that have a creek that come in like this one are good, and just work the back of them and then progressively work deeper till you find those fish. And essentially what you want to do is fish, you know, all the lead out areas from the back on the way out to the open water. Now, where are the big boys? That's what I want to know. Because where there's little ones, usually there's some big ones around somewhere, especially this time of year. Very predictable, these pikes. So big ones will not be that far away. Put those glasses back on. I've got a yellow lens Strike King glass here, and I'm going to wear these for a bit, and then I'm going to alternate. As the sun gets a little brighter, I'll go to more of a dark gray lens. But you know, as it's still a little bit low light right now, I really do like the yellow lens or amber lens glasses more so for this time of day.
Don't go anywhere because we've got more Northern Pike action. Stay tuned.
That is a good looking pike right there.
I grew up fishing on the Key River with my grandfather, who was a passionate fisherman. Actually, he had a houseboat, and we travel down the Key and go down Docus and then park and fish, and I just always loved it. And when the fishing camp came up for sale, decided to bring my wife Karen up to take a look, and she immediately fell in love with the beauty of the Georgian Bay. And that's how it all started. We're located at the mouth of the Key River, looking out into the islands of the Georgian Bay. And to get here, we park at the highway, and we have a fleet of Lund boats, and people travel down the river themselves. It's a beautiful trip with rock cliffs, and then they come out to the lodge. We're blessed because our fishing season starts the 1st of May for walleye and pike. And yes, the pike are big, and so are the walleye. And then the bass kick in June, and muskie as well in late June, and we finish up at the end of September. We offer 6 housekeeping cottages where the fishermen can come and have fun, but we also offer a modified American plan where Maggie and Dave cook up a great meal for you. Of course, the focus is on fishing, but also kayaking's really taken off. Actually, this year we have 5 adventure tours planned for kayaking, ranging from photography to biosphere, and actually even yoga on the rocks. So great fishing, great kayaking. And actually a lot of people come because they can kayak and fish at the same time. Well, in 2006, I went with a great group of guys to the North Pole and raised money for inner city youth charities, particularly for food. And then once you've done the North Pole, it's logical to think of the South Pole. And in December last year, we traveled down in pretty horrific conditions and actually achieved our goal of achieving the South Pole. And then in talking to my wife Karen, she said, you know, you love these extreme trips, but what about sticking a little closer to home? So look for a piece of paradise in Ontario, and here we are.
Oh yeah, alrighty. Look at that pike. I love it. Oh, pike. Oh, that's so funny. He hit. There's a puff of mud where he hit up there. And just get some of my tools over here. Gotta have those tools ready when you're pike fishing. Oh, that's a healthy specimen right there. Oops. Just big rock here. Okay. All right. Whoa! He decided, I think he just realized he's hooked. Uh-oh. Barely hooked. All right. Don't need those mouse spreaders there for this one. All righty. Look at that. Yeah, that's what we're talking about, you know, and that's such a perfect specimen there. And I don't know, this is post-spawn, but look at that. That's very healthy looking pike. Very good shape. All righty. That is a good looking pike right there. Come on, baby. Yeah. You know, what I've got here is a Stren fluorocarbon leader I'm using, and as opposed to using, you know, a wire leader, what I've got on here is a really heavy-duty 60-pound test piece of fluorocarbon that I just tied onto my line, and I'm using a braided line, spider wire, 50-pound braided line as a main line. And I've got it down to this new Strike King bait here, and it's called a Sexy Swimmer swim bait. And this is just a cool, slow sinking bait that has got an incredible action on. And when I saw this come out, and I know this was designed for bass fishing, I said that is going to be one pike bait, and it sure is. And key is just to work it slow through the water column. Now I'll just throw my sunglasses on here. What we got here is just a perfect little feeder bay here. You can see you got the incoming creek, you got some good weed growth happening here. Perfect spot for pike. Alrighty. Yeah. While I get this pike slime off my hands, folks, stay tuned. We'll be right back with some more Georgian Bay pike fishing after this.
Coming up after the break, Bob changes it up and tries a new bait. Let's take a look down under with this week's Fish Eye View, sponsored by Mercury, #1 on the water. Smallmouth bass and near-shore structure go hand in hand. Apart from the Great Lakes, it's standard procedure to work shorelines on inland waters. On small lakes, this can be a year-round pattern. With large, deep waters, it's more of a seasonal thing. North shores are exposed to maximum sunlight and warm up first, concentrating fish early in the season. After that, the shaded south end kicks in. At any time, low light periods such as dawn, dusk, and overcast days move fish shallow. Working from a boat, one of the biggest problems is getting too close to the fish. If you get this type of reaction, you know they've made you. It's always best to make long casts well ahead of your line of travel. If it's a prime section of real estate, a better plan is to go ashore and leave the boat behind. Put on a pair of waders and work your way along. Doing this, you can effectively dissect every inch of potential fish holding structure. That's the only way we do our underwater filming. It's just that effective. In knee to waist deep water, move about slowly and cautiously. Systematically, quarter cast ahead as you go, and we guarantee you'll turn fish that can't be accessed from a boat.
Oh, there we go. All right. That was funny. Watch that guy just chase it and follow it in. That's the one thing about a bait like this, you can just stop it if you want. Whoa, he absolutely ate it though. So now this is where the tools of the trade come in. Just open it up like this and get the bait, get all those hooks out. There we are. Okay. Alrighty. See you later, guy. Cool stuff. That thing there just followed in, and that's what you should do when you're pike fishing. Very important to always watch your lure as it's coming to the boat. And pike are notorious for following. So if they follow you to the boat, usually just turn that bait and just turn that pike so it's going away from the boat. And that way, a lot of times they'll hit it, you know, as they see that direction change. Also, it doesn't draw their attention towards you. It draws their attention away from the boat and yourself. Cool little thing. Wasn't a big pike, but lots of fun. I love visual fishing. Whoa, baby. Whoa, what do we got on here? Oh, pike, all righty. Just changed up here, folks, to something that's really new. And it's a spoon, but it's actually a spoon designed for largemouth fishing called a Sexy Spoon by Strike King. But I'll tell you, this spoon has definitely got some appeal for some pike. Here, let me just pull this in. A heavy little guy. This spoon has got one of the coolest actions on it. Let me just pull this hook out. There we go. Alrighty. And you can see it's a big flutter type spoon designed for largemouth fishing, but it's got a really cool action. I know the pike like big spoons, and this spoon here, out of all the spoons I've seen, it's got a really good wobble to it. And I believe around Lake Fork, Texas, or somewhere down Texas, they started using a lot of these spoons for largemouth fishing. But of course, up here in the north, we've used them for many, many years. You know, I've got to tell you, I just ran out of time. I was just up here for literally a day and a half of fishing. And I'll tell you, it is so beautiful up here in the northern part of Georgian Bay. And the folks at Diamond Key Resort are really great people, you know. It's a wonderful place to come. It's only a 3.5-hour drive north of Toronto. It's affordable, and you have literally thousands of places to fish. Saw a lot of big pike today. Actually had one big one in that 15-pound range take a swipe at that sexy swimmer swim bait that I had, but I missed it. But lots of fun, lots of action. What can I say? Wonderful company at the lodge. We had a really good time. Folks, I'll see you next week right here for some more reel fishing. Time to head in. The sun is going down, and got to make about an 8-mile boat ride back to the launch and head back towards the city. Yeah, all right. This is a big fish. That is a fish of a lifetime. Well, that is just amazing. Look at that thing. Oh, yeah. Wow. Oh, man. Woo. That was too cool. Oh, man, what a fish. Look at that. Yes.